1 degree north of the equator, there is a small island nation. A thriving tropical paradise. And on this land has risen one of the fastest growing cities in the world. This is Singapore, one of the most densely populated countries on Earth. But even with 5.5 million people, there is still a wild side. Beyond the city, almost 60 smaller islands make up Singapore's surprising archipelago. Some have been shaped by man, transformed into brand new worlds full of challenges and opportunities. Others are natural havens, sanctuaries for the rare and unusual. Specks of different worlds, home to surprising residents who've learned to make the best of their opportunities, adapting to change and fighting to survive on the islands beyond the wild city. Singapore is home to the world's second busiest port. 500 million tons of cargo and over 100,000 ships pass through it every year. It's a natural harbour, but despite the maritime traffic above, it also houses hidden underwater worlds that support an astonishing variety of life. Below the waves, hawksbill turtles are attracted by the feasts of algae and sponges on offer. They are frequent visitors to these waters on their migration to nesting grounds in the north. More permanent residents are the hundreds of types of coral, including over a quarter of the world's total number of hard coral species. Hundreds of years of coral growth has transformed the waters here. Every corner of the reef is a natural shelter. A diverse array of animals take full advantage. The most common are the damselfish. Master maneuverers, their small flat bodies help them to dive easily in and out of branching coral. One reef resident has found a more unusual home with his family of clownfish. They shelter together in the lethal tentacles of an anemone. Their elaborate dance moves help their bodies build immunity to the anemone's sting. The clownfish's colourful scales are also coated in thick mucus, an additional layer of protection. The cost of living here is worth it. The threat of the anemone's toxic touch keeps the clownfish's predators at bay. Fish aren't the only beneficiaries of Singapore's remaining reefs. Here, sea slugs of all shapes and colours can be found, sending a clear message that their soft bodies contain deadly toxins. Some graze on sponges. Totally blind, they smell and feel their way to their next meal. They've got plenty to choose from. Around 200 species of sponge live in Singapore's waters. This sponge is not just lunch, but also home to one very strange fish. It has bony plates for scales, a long, muscular tail, a tube for teeth, a tiger tail, a rare species of seahorse. Threatened with extinction, it's still found in Singaporean waters. A poor swimmer, he uses his strong tail to anchor onto the sponge. He's on the hunt for lunch. Barely moving, the seahorse remains hidden against the background. He's almost indistinguishable from his surroundings, while his eyes do the searching. He rotates each eye independently, following passing prey without giving the game away. His long, tube-like snout sucks up unsuspecting microscopic crustaceans, swallowing them whole. Seahorses have no stomachs and must eat almost constantly to stay alive. They can consume up to 3,000 shrimp in a single day. But he's not just eating for one. He's got babies on board. Unusually, it's the seahorse male that carries the young in a special pouch on his abdomen. 2 weeks from now, he will give birth to hundreds of little ones. Born into the shelter of Singapore's reefs, some will have a good chance of survival. This young seahorse and many others living here will, with luck, ensure a future for this species in local waters. Up above, the seahorse's reef gives way to the edges of islands. At Big Sister Island, 10 kilometres south of the city, an early morning low tide reveals a world caught between land and sea. A good opportunity to explore a unique ecosystem. The reef rubble of these shallow flats is home for unusual creatures. A toadfish that croaks like its namesake, and a teddy bear crab. A hairy body helps it hide in plain sight. They are exposed to air and sunlight every few hours. To avoid drying out, some shelter in burrows or protect themselves with hard shells. Only the toughest survive here. Life is no easier for other residents. The island plays host to a tribe of crab-eating macaques. Isolated from the city by unrelenting ocean currents, these are no band of brothers. Competition for females and food is fierce. On the mainland, male macaques leave home at around 5 years of age, searching for a troop of their own to lead. Here on Big Sister, the males are stuck with no possible escape in sight. The dominant males have almost exclusive access to all the females. Young ones find it hard to get all the food they need if they're to grow big enough to challenge their elders. The island has a limited larder. Seeds and grasses are no substitute for sugary tropical fruits. So when an opportunity arises for a decent feed, like when treasures are left behind by visiting tourists, it's all on. He who rules the rubbish tin may rule the troop. One would-be usurper has seen an opening. It's game on. At the edge of the island, it's a sharp drop to treacherous waters. There's nowhere to run. A band of dominant males join together, pushing this young upstart to the very brink. But he's not going down without a fight. The final face-off, and it's over. The threat of deep water seems to have been enough to make the underling cower into submission. The dominant males maintain their control, but the fight has left its marks. Other battles on these wild islands are waged underwater. In the open ocean, danger is never far away. Singapore is one of the most densely populated cities on Earth. The need for space has driven the nation upwards and outwards. Even the mainland's closest neighbours are being taken over. Keppel Island, at the edge of the city centre, has been transformed. The area has become a marina, a playground for super yachts and millionaires. But some determined creatures have claimed this exclusive location as their own. Despite the constant boat traffic, underwater, a coral reef has unexpectedly established itself. The marina's sturdy floating pontoons have given corals and seaweeds a new place to attach and grow. As well as shelter, there's plenty of food here, attracting schools of butterfly fish. The marina has encouraged the reef with a uniquely open design. It allows currents to flow through the pontoons, bringing fresh nutrients from the ocean daily. Nearly 50 types of encrusting marine animals live here, in a community structure similar to Singapore's wild coral reefs. Cardinal fish hover near pylons, waiting for the cover of darkness to feed on tiny crustaceans. During the day, fanworms here catch an easy meal. Tiny beating hairs on each of their feathery branches collect food from the incoming current. It's a natural-born ecosystem thriving in a man-made marina right on the edge of the city. Beyond the urban coastline lies Pulau Semakau, one of Singapore's outermost islands. Here, other recently installed man-made structures have also created a new underwater world. As at Keppel Island, the oxygen-rich currents provide the perfect environment for growing fish. This is one of more than 100 fish farms operating off the nation's coastline, and that number is set to grow. Here, thousands of barramundi are kept in enclosures formed by nets suspended in the water. They're destined for the city's dinner tables, but it's not just urban residents these fish farms are feeding. The nets have attracted wild fish and ocean drifters to an artificial bounty. Algae growing on the cages make an easy grazing field for round-faced batfish. Often found in small groups, there's enough food here to support larger numbers. The net's buoy ropes have also become home for a blenny mimic. This is a first record of the species in Singaporean waters. But soon there may be more to come. One male has made a nest inside the rope's encrusting growth. He's hoping to lure a mate. Here comes a potential willing customer. After a quick assessment, she displays her rounded belly towards the nest, a sign she's impressed. Time to seal the deal. She enters the nest to lay her eggs, and the lucky male quickly follows suit to fertilize them. These tiny opportunists have turned the city's fish farms to their advantage. Out here in the open water, finding food and shelter is no easy task. Without man-made structures or the shelter of a coral reef, there are few places to hide. And hungry mouths are lurking. A pair of pistol shrimps have solved the problem by digging a burrow for shelter. Knowing when to hide in it is more difficult. They're almost completely blind. Thankfully, they have a housemate with perfect vision to keep a lookout for them. The yellow watchman goby. He lives inside the burrow with the shrimp. For free rent and board, he acts as their sentinel. Nothing will stop his vigil. Even while eating, he's got both eyes open for approaching danger. In this underwater desert, strong currents wash over the household. The burrow takes the brunt of it, risking collapse under the shifting sands. So the shrimp are in permanent renovation mode. Despite the shrimp's short-sightedness, the trio is in constant communication using touch. The busy builders rest their antennae on the goby's tail, waiting for a signal in case a hungry mouth comes too close. A cuttlefish on the hunt. Shrimp make an excellent lunch. A flick of the goby's tail is a signal to return to the burrow. Hidden underground, the three remain safely out of sight. The coast is clear. As soon as the threat passes, it's back to business as usual. By working and living together, the goby and shrimp have found safety in these dangerous open waters. The cuttlefish heads to the nearby reef. Here, this master of disguise can hide from its own predators. Cuttlefish are among the most intelligent of marine animals, with an unusually large brain. They can't see colour, yet their sophisticated eyes scan their surroundings and transform their bodies to match. Thousands of pigment cells underneath the skin can change colour and texture in seconds. Hidden in plain sight amongst the surrounding weeds. After dark, other wild island creatures emerge, and they're on the hunt for dinner. Morning on Big Sister Island. The marooned macaques are awake, ready to begin the business of the day. The ritual grooming. After the recent infighting, the gentle behaviour is a chance to restore calm within this isolated group. The higher-ranking troop members are groomed most often. In macaque society, junior individuals, by regularly attending to their superiors, can gain protection and greater standing within the group. But the young upstart who dared challenge his leaders is still being given the cold shoulder. For now, he'll have to look after himself. Morning routine done, it's time for breakfast. Now the city visitors have left the island, it's back to bare basics. A hopeful search for wave-washed treasure proves fruitless. This is thirsty work. With no lakes or streams on the island, it seems all they can do is hope and wait for the rains. Water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. And yet, on other islands, mangrove forests thrive in these same coastal waters. Their salt-tolerant roots form dense networks, holding the plants upright in soggy ground. They provide a unique habitat for tree-climbing crabs and mudskippers, and a feeding ground for migratory birds. Once, much of Singapore's coastline looked like this. but less than 10% of the country's mangroves now remain. What's left is an irreplaceable home for countless local species. These green fringes, though, aren't always safe havens. On the Northern Islands, the mangroves are rife with killers. Female golden orb spiders are among the largest web-spinning species in the world. And in the spider community, size does matter. The male of this species is so small compared to his female that she may not even know he exists. Unless she's in need of a little top-up snack. It's going to be difficult to win her affections. While she's busy eating an unlucky fly, he makes his approach. A little seduction is in order in the form of a massage. His legs gently rub her body, and wrap it in silk is an attempt to calm her aggression. If she's receptive, she will stay still while he mates with her. No such luck here. A kick of the legs is a sign she's not in the mood. But at least this time, he's not been turned into lunch. In the waters below the web, another 8-legged creature is on the hunt. An octopus straying from its ocean home. But an even more unexpected danger is lurking in the murky waters. Bullseye. The archerfish has developed a unique ability to shoot a high-pressure jet of water from its mouth at its victim. It takes practice, carefully judging distances and weight, and even adjusting for the way the light bends when crossing from air to water. Target acquired. Fire! Collecting the meal can hold its own challenges. Here in the mangroves, freeloaders are always on the lookout for an easy lunch. Sometimes a more direct approach is a safer bet. Darkness brings other mangrove residents to life. Some try and get some rest, but it pays to be vigilant. Here be monsters on the prowl. A dog-faced water snake, perfectly adapted to this dark, muddy environment. It has the ability to keep most of its body up off the sticky sludge and so move efficiently across the mangrove mud. Even water is no barrier, but a welcome second home. Here it's fast when it needs to be. and then it stops and almost vanishes. Its long, thin body is easily mistaken for a stray root. But this camouflage is not just for hiding. The snake is on a mission. Tiny fish and tadpoles are trapped in these shallow tidal pools. Catching them requires stealth and patience. Nostrils and eyes placed at the top of its head earn the snake its name and allow it to see and breathe above water, while its body remains hidden in the murky depths. It can stay poised like this for hours. The snake's senses are tuned not to sight, but movement. Dinner comes to those who wait. Beyond the mangroves, the coral reefs are also stirring. A shy reef octopus has been hiding in its den all day. Nothing like an evening stroll to stretch the tentacles. This is a master of rough terrain. Each tentacle is covered in 2 rows of strong and sensitive suckers, helping the octopus crawl across the reef rubble and move any tiresome obstacles out of the way. With a body devoid of bones, it can transform itself into a net, totally enveloping coral colonies, while its suckers scour the undersides for well-hidden snacks. No crevice is too small for this contortionist, useful when it has to disappear. Predator can become prey. Over the past few weeks, the waters here have slowly warmed. Combined with an April full moon, it's an annual signal for new life to begin. As if on cue, the reef's corals and anemones release trillions of sperm and eggs into the water. They float to the surface to mix and fertilize. The resulting larvae will drift with the tides surrounding the islands over the next few weeks. Eventually, they will grow heavy enough to sink and settle. A newborn insurance policy for the future of Singapore's reefs and the countless species that call this place home. Other island newborns have only just learnt to swim, but they're about to take the plunge into deep water. Beyond Singapore's busy port lie the southern islands. Dazzling white sand beaches are rarely crowded. A pleasant change from the bustling metropolis. Welcome to Singapore's tropical beach idyll. Surrounding nature often goes unnoticed when playtime is the top priority. While relaxed urbanites enjoy the day off, wild beach dwellers are just beginning their working day. Sand bubbler crabs, the size of a thumbnail. Living in burrows in the sand, they emerge in their hundreds at low tide to feed. The ocean has left behind microscopic animals and algae on the surface of the sand. The crabs scoop up mouthfuls and use their special sieve-like mouthparts to sift out a meal. The processed sand is methodically discarded as neat balls. These tidy leftovers are a sign of what's been eaten and what's still up for grabs. The perfect system, until a pushy neighbour comes along. Without distractions, the crabs work at breakneck speed, spitting out up to 10 balls of sand a minute. All too soon, the tide comes in, and the crabs return to their burrows to wait it out. On Big Sister Island, the macaques' wait for the rain is over. Singapore's monsoons bring daily rainstorms. Relief at last. And the macaques know how to take full advantage. Hollows in the island's trees have filled with rainwater, a chance to drink. And for the island's young to learn a trick essential for survival. But others don't always want to wait their turn. Thankfully, the rain has also brought a more abundant bonus. Flying ants. The heavy downpour and warm temperatures have triggered them to swarm in search of a new home. It's a timely, protein-filled banquet for the hungry macaques, peaceful at last. The rains have turned Sister Island into a place of bounty, a true tropical paradise just beyond the city. And off its shores, stretching 40 hectares across the southern islands, the country's first ever marine park. It's a buffer against the ever-encroaching port, and a safe haven for an astonishing array of creatures. Even the incredibly rare has found a safe place here. This Neptune's cup sponge is one of the only two known to exist in the whole world. They became victims of overcollection and then were thought extinct. These survivors have only recently been found alive and well right here in the waters of Singapore. Rare as they are, they're not the only VIP guests here. Giant clams were lost to land reclamation projects and vanished from the area. A breeding and monitoring program is working to reintroduce the colossal shellfish to these waters. But to thrive, they need to be left in peace. Finally possible here in the Sister Islands protected marine park. In a busy city like Singapore, Wildlife often takes refuge in the few hidden pockets undisturbed by humans. In the north lies one such rare place, Coney Island. Unlike the marine park, this is an accidental sanctuary. It was once destined to become Singapore's very own theme park, but plans were abandoned and it was closed to the public for 20 years, leaving it free to become a haven for plants and animals alike. The ideal place to raise a young family. Three new smooth-coated otter pups have been making the best of this quiet spot. They're the latest arrivals in this large family. A good roll-around is the perfect way for everyone to dry and clean their fur before heading out on another morning's adventure. At around 2 months old, the pups are joining the family on a serious mission. Surrounded by Mum, Dad and their older brothers and sisters, the pups make a beeline for the island's surrounding reservoir. They're on the hunt for a fresh fish breakfast. Mum and Dad won't provide forever, so it's essential that the pups learn to fend for themselves. But they've only just learned to swim, so far sticking to the safety of the island shallows. Time to take the plunge into deeper, unfamiliar waters. The family travels in tandem, adults surrounding the pups for safety. In this fish-filled reservoir, it's not long before the hunt begins. The pups are watching, learning the tricks of their trade. The aim is to confuse the fish to make them easier to catch. Their siblings are expert hunters. If the pups want to succeed, they will need to get right in there too. The fish are fast and slippery. But with a little help, a catch. The fish may be small this time, but the adults will share their spoils after they've had their own fill. Fully grown otters can hold themselves upright in deep water to eat. A technique this young pup hasn't quite mastered yet. A steady rock, though, does the trick. With the help of their large family, the three pups are slowly gaining skills and confidence. But for now, there's still time to enjoy Mum's attention. At least for a little while. Coney Island has recently reopened its doors to visitors, so the future of this quiet sanctuary is set to change. But given a little space, Singapore's wildlife has proved itself surprisingly resilient. From natural mangrove forest to tropical reefs, the islands and waters here are rich and diverse. The animals face challenges, yet embrace opportunities. With a helping hand, all kinds of creatures can still thrive. Colourful, rare, unusual, a unique natural heritage. On the islands beyond the wild city.